It's time to get educated on the craziness impacting K-12 classrooms and college campuses around the world. This is the Dr. Duke Show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Duke Show. We have got a great program for you today, so just please hit that share button to keep us growing. Today we start in Washington State, where an elementary school is in serious hot water after allegedly humiliating a little second-grade girl for simply talking about God and Jesus on the playground. This is a remarkable story. I mean, and I think it's going to make a lot of news nationally coming up. A government school in Washington is facing major legal trouble after fiendishly persecuting and humiliating a little girl in second grade. Her crime: sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ with classmates on the playground and distributing tracts with biblical information on them. Even more astounding, the school searched the little girl every time she came to school. They went through her clothes, through her things, to ensure that she did not have gospel tracts to distribute to other children. It's as if this is contraband now. It's like the Soviet Union when you had to sneak in Bibles with your blue jeans. Now this is in America today, in a elementary school, to bring Christian material to class and to wait till recess to hand it out on the playground is a kind of contraband. It is unbelievable. Quote, Christian tracts were being treated as contraband, as if speaking about Jesus were an illicit drug, noted the American Center for Law and Justice in a report about these abuses. The excuse offered by the school for the outrageous behavior by taxpayer-funded government officials was that other parents were upset by the girl's activities. When contacted by attorneys, the principal also claimed school policy forbids materials that may cause disturbances or interfere with school activities. I mean, given what's going on in these public schools, a little interference might not be such a bad thing. Considering the extremist and pornographic materials that we already see in these schools, and particularly in Washington State, the policy apparently does not extend to grotesque propaganda encouraging fornication and masturbation, all other bizarre sexual practices. That's sharing necessary information. If you had kids on the schoolyard little kids passing out LGBTQ paraphernalia or propaganda to other little kids, pretty darn sure the school would stand lockstep 100% behind their constitutional right to do so. Regardless of all of this, U.S. policy Supreme Court has already decided these cases, has often made it very clear on the opinion in this matter. In the landmark 1969 case, Tinker versus Des Moines Independent Community School District, the High Court found that students in public schools do not shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate. Think about how often the public schools are talking to you about how critical it is to express who you are if you're not straight, if you're not Christian, if you're not white, if you're not privileged, if you're not a man, if you're not cisgendered. Endlessly. We have transformed your public schools into places where every non-traditional, every anti-American, every undermining Christian idea must be expressed for the good of the school, the culture, diversity, you name it. Except for this one, right? Except for a little girl who believes in Christ. The supposed Highline School District policy cited by the principal is really not relevant here in the face of the Supreme Court decision. It only prohibits distribution of written materials that may cause a disruption during an assembly or a classroom setting. Clearly not on the playground where the little girl was passing these things out. Enough is enough, wrote the ACLJ's Christina Compagnone, vowing to litigate if necessary. Quote, the actions of the school officials were particularly egregious in this case because they not only violated the student's rights, but they publicly humiliated her and searched her. This they will not get away with, unquote. Consider the treatment of this young girl in the light of other recent developments. Last year, the California Board of Education voted unanimously that an ethnic studies model curriculum that forced elementary school to chant prayers to an Aztec deity of cannibalism, war, and sacrifice. After school Satan clubs are popping up all across the country. A little girl and her Christian message has to be censored. It tells you one thing. Even a tiny little 6-year-old girl armed with the words of Christ is dangerous. Dangerous. That's always been the case. It always will be. We need to rally around this little girl. You're going to be a lot more of this, I think. I think there's no way the school can win this, but we've got to stand up for those who express themselves outside of the progressive mainstream.
With all the censorship taking place on social media platforms, we've made it easy to keep up with your favorite content. Simply download the Freedom Project Media app in your app store. Get access to 18 new videos a week, plus thousands of archived shows, lecture series, and educational animations. Download the Freedom Project Media app on your Apple TV, Roku, tablet, or phone, and make sure you allow for notifications to keep you informed.
Now that I have the Rolling Stones song stuck in your head, let's talk about your pocketbook and how it may be feeling as light as gas these days. So thank you, inflation, for helping us to truly build back better, get some help for the dumpster fire we are in.
Nothing to see here, please disperse. Nothing to see here, please.
Which brings us to today's question. What is the price of gasoline where you live? Let's share the pain in the comments section, and if you could share this video, that'd be lovely too. I mean, it is free to share, which is probably the only thing you can say is free these days. Because looking at the national average for gas at $4.25 a gallon makes you want to throw in the towel. Or it may get you to be thinking of flushing all of your money down the drain, but not the pipeline because we closed that down a year ago. For what reason again? That's right, the reason of politics.
I'm going to sign you, and that's what we do while you're all here.
When President Biden revoked the construction permit of the Keystone XL Pipeline, environmentalists celebrated. 1,500 miles from Washington, in Murdo, South Dakota, population 444, Jeff Birkeland had a different reaction.
How did you feel?
Like it got kicked in the stomach, honestly. I didn't feel good at all.
We're with you, Jeff. We don't feel good at all either. That reporting was from 1 whole year ago, and at that time, it was clearly the best decision for the country, right?
But the pipe is the best way to go. And
that was back in May after Biden's Energy Secretary, Jennifer Granholm, admitted that using pipe is the best method to transport fuel. So now that we are in March 2022 with gas prices shooting up faster than Hunter Biden on a Tuesday night bender, can we consider giving back the permits for the Keystone XL Pipeline? The White House says the pipeline was irrelevant with everything now with Ukraine and Russia. Let's circle back on that and explain a little bit more.
Would President Biden ever undo his executive order that stopped the construction of the Keystone XL pipeline?
Are you suggesting that would solve the gas prices issue?
Well, do you think that that would maybe affect prices faster than getting the whole country off of fossil fuels?
I actually don't think it would. The Keystone was not an oil field. It's a pipeline. Yeah. Also, the oil is continuing to flow in just through other means. So it actually would have nothing to do with the current supply imbalance.
Okay. Even weird Canada, with all of its problems in the past few months, has at least one politician who thinks the pipeline should be opened. If only the politicians here knew that the pipe was the best method back when they shut it down. Except they did, as I just explained. That's how you do a circle back, Jen Psaki. The same Jen Psaki who managed a straight face when saying we should be grateful. Because right now Biden is president and not Donald Trump, Orange Man bad.
You know, another reason why the American people are grateful, the majority of the American people, that President Biden has not taken a page out of his predecessor's playbook as it relates to global engagement and global leadership, because certainly we could be in a different place.
Anywho, a broken clock is right twice a day, and the broken clock that is Joe Biden announced something that was good.
Today, I'm announcing the United States is targeting the main artery of Russia's economy. We're banning all imports of Russian oil and gas and energy. That means Russian oil will no longer be acceptable at U.S. ports, and the American people will deal another powerful blow to Putin's war machine. This is a move that has strong bipartisan support in Congress and, I believe, in the country. Americans have rallied to support the Ukrainian people and made it clear we will not be part of subsidizing Putin's war.
Anyone else have a sense that Biden did not want to read that statement? It's like when a kid has to read his book report in front of the class. While Biden said there was strong bipartisan support in the Congress, there was not support in the Biden White House. And maybe that's where the more than usual lackluster performance came from. It was reported that over the weekend, the Ways and Means Democrats put out a press release announcing the bipartisan bill of banning the oil, but whoopsie, it was pulled down within 5 minutes because the White House told them to. And that didn't work, and Nancy Pelosi got involved, and Joe called her to talk ice cream, but also to say, don't put forth the bill. Because it's all about the optics and the politics, not what's best for the American people. The White House can't appear boxed in or show who's wearing the pants in that relationship. There you have it. Laws and sausages. Two things you never want to see how they get made. Moving on, when Biden announced the cutoff of Russian oil, he also barely sentiently told companies to not jack the prices.
But, it's no excuse to exercise excessive price increases or padding profits or any kind of effort to exploit this situation or American consumers, exploit them. Russia's aggression is costing us all, and it's no time for profiteering or price gouging.
Joe, in his lack of wisdom and mental state, did not give the same message to his transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, or his shadow, Kamala Harris, because as we know, never let a good crisis go to waste. Exploit, exploit, exploit.
Clean transportation can bring significant cost savings for the American people as well. Last month, we announced a $5 billion investment to build out a nationwide electric vehicle charging network so that people from rural to suburban to urban communities can all benefit from the gas savings of driving an EV.
An EV. That's electric vehicle for all you losers who are too busy doing your jobs to come up with such posh lingo as EV. And that EV only costs north of $50,000, which is only 500% more than my used minivan. But with gas prices as high as they are now, heck, that $50,000 would be a savings. And that brings us to... Where in the world is Kama-Lama-Lama Ding Dong? The Ding Dong was also rubbing elbows with Petey Boy and speaking at the Accelerating Clean Transportation event. For her contribution, Harris cribbed off of the socialist John Lennon.
Imagine a future. The freight trucks that deliver bread and milk to our grocery store shelves, and the buses that take children to school and parents to work. Imagine all the heavy-duty vehicles that keep our supply lines strong and allow our economy to grow. Imagine that they produced zero emissions. Well, you all imagined it. That's why we're here today. Because we have the ability to see what can be, unburdened by what has been, and then to make the possible actually happen.
She is the gift that keeps on giving. By that, I mean she's the reason we have white elephant exchanges. She just keeps being passed around because absolutely no one wants her, but yet she somehow keeps failing upward. You may remember this doozy from last week.
So Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
If you didn't see the video I released of the State of the Union, with that clip included, just know that it was 1 week ago, or only about 60 cents per gallon of gas ago. However you want to delineate time. Again, Russian oil is being cut off, which is something. And that something is about 8%. About 8% of the oil for America is from Russia, according to the 2021 stats. The ban should be done, but we have major oil source opportunities right here in this little area called the United States of America, where pipes can be made and oil can flow freely. Instead, we have gas prices hitting all-time highs, and the media's headlines are simply giddy, to use words such as soar, surge, and record-breaking, none of which could ever be said in a positive manner with the current president. And you know our comedians who haven't been funny in years are extra giddy, especially Stephen Colbert, who lacks any sense of life outside of his little bubble.
today, the average gas price in America hit an all-time record high of over $4 per gallon. Okay, that stings, but a clean conscience is worth $1 or $2. I'm willing to pay. It's important. It's important. I'm willing to pay $4 a gallon. Hell, I'll pay $15 a gallon because I drive a Tesla.
You can see even the piano player was bored by that attempt at humor. Bringing back the map from before, as AAA reported, the average price of gas is at $4.25 per gallon, the highest it's been since the day before when it was $4.17, which is the high since 2008 when gas cost $4.11 per gallon. Way to top that, everyone. Especially all you politically blue states that are very red right now, meaning gas is anywhere from $4.41 to $5.57 per gallon. And how about that evil Wall Street? Well, that was bound to take a nice hit too. I'm smiling right now. This is my happy face. Leslie Nielsen, one more time, please.
Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Nothing to see here. Please.
Yay! But to bring a touch more levity to this situation and to wrap this up, I present you a snippet of a speech from a few weeks ago from my favorite of all the politicians in all the land, Senator John Kennedy.
Now, I don't like to brag about the expensive places I've been, but this morning I went to the gas station. Oh my God. Please, dear Lord, don't let President Biden mismanage Russia aggression.
Amen. In all seriousness, I am putting into perspective everything we have. Gas prices are unnecessarily high, yes, but as you know, life is a lot worse in other areas of the world, especially at this moment. You may be busy giving your life savings to pay for gas, but make sure you are also giving all of your F's, faith, family, and friends. And please share the video since it is one of the only free things left. Until next time, let's go Brandon, and stay healthy, America.
Today's show is sponsored by our friends at MyPillow. Save up to 66% on all items at MyPillow.com when you use the code Dr. Duke. That's DRDUKE. Support this show by supporting a great American company.
It's time now for Reclaiming America with our counterculture mom, Tina Griffith. Well, we've got two stories today, and one is good news. Since Texas implemented its Heartbeat Act, we find out now that abortions in Texas across the state have absolutely plummeted. The new legislation requires bans on abortion once cardiac activity is detected in the baby, usually around 6 weeks. So this is really a triumph for the pro-life movement.
It's major, and the neat thing is that I've been reading over the last 2 decades about pro-life, babies developing in the womb. It's actually 14 days after conception is when the heart can start beating already. So even the 6 weeks is further along than what I think is happening. It's amazing how many babies are spared as a result. Daily Wire just came out and said the law went into effect August 2021, and by the end of September, abortions had dropped 60%. 60%. Knowledge is power. That's what tells me is going on here. I actually interviewed Ken Ham yesterday at NRB Live for the Counterculture Mom Show, and he has a pro-life display that he just launched at the Creation Museum about 2 years ago. It now shows the organs inside of the developing baby at all different stages throughout the pregnancy of what these organs look like. When the heart starts beating, liver function, kidneys. I have not seen it yet, but just the pictures alone, I just want to shed some tears, Dr. Duke. When people see the reality of life as it begins at conception in the womb, and they see truth for what it is scientifically, not what they've thrown in these textbooks, not what Planned Parenthood has been selling people for decades because they want to make billions of dollars a year at performing abortions, people make different and better decisions. So yay to Texas. Can we have that spread like wildfire throughout the U.S.?
Yeah, the point of science is to reveal the sacred nature of nature as it's been given to us by God, not to ignore scientific truth and murder children in the womb. I think that goes without saying. Speaking of children under fire, what is it about Northern Virginia? Northern Virginia has become the epicenter now. I suppose being the biggest suburb of Washington, D.C. answers the question. In Northern Virginia school, we have children, little toddlers, forced to wear masks while they're napping.
The number one thing I want to say, which is not Christ-like, is that we should have 2 or 3 N95 masks put on these teachers and see if they can actually breathe. It blows my mind what is going on with this school. There was a father, for example, that's speaking up. His 3-year-old twins at that school go there right now. He's probably going to pull them out because when he initially signed them up at the school, the marketing director told him and his wife that the masks were not required during the entirety of the classroom learning, and now his twin daughters are being forced to wear these masks 24/7 when they're at the school, including the naps, like you said. These kids can't breathe. And also the other concern that many parents have, not just at this school, but all over the country, is the fact that the learning for speech development with these kids is majorly being altered and harmed. They're 2 or 3 years, if not more, behind on speech learning because of the masks covering up their face. They're not learning how to speak properly.
So you have a perfect storm of kids developmentally way behind and teachers not teaching them reading anyway. This is going to be a shock to parents in about 5 years. Tina, last question for you. Does it seem to you, because it seems to me, like all these parents who have fought against masks and fought the mandates, it seems like the powers that be are taking it out, not on us, but on our littlest children?
Absolutely, and it gets to the point, not just at a school where they charge $12,000 per semester and requires all staff and students to wear masks and have a vaccine status if they've received a shot. We have to get to the point now where we protect our kids at all costs. I'm hearing way too many stories that mainstream media is not reporting of children dying as a result of wearing masks. They're even required in some schools to wear them while in athletic practice. Are you kidding me? That's insane. No one can breathe through a mask. It was hard for me to breathe when I was on a plane with a mask on, and I'm an adult. So it's now at the point, Dr. Duke, we literally have children's lives at stake. We have to pull them out of these institutions, fight back. If you need to, sue to get the point across, and pray that the right people are in office to actually have that lawsuit go through ethically on the side of the parents. This is completely stripping our rights away as parents. That's what they want. The elites want that in our country, and we have to fight back at all costs. And if that means everyone at this particular school ripping their kids out of class, that school would go under with no funding if it's $12,000 per semester per family, per child. So make sure you download the Counterculture Mom app, get the premium section, and you will get alerts on your phone every single day of what Hollywood is trying to pump in our kids' brains that we want to run from, and also a lot of positive entertainment options are also given on there. Books, TV shows, 1 or 2 positive Netflix series that are left, and movies galore, video games, all of it right through our Counterculture Mom app.
It's time for real education here on the Dr. Duke Show. This week we're showcasing our series entitled 56 Signers of the Declaration of Independence. You probably know a handful of them, like a Hancock, John Hancock. Bit nice and oversized signature there. You probably don't know the name of most of them, so this is going to give you and your kids a chance to learn about these remarkable men. These videos are designed to educate adults and children alike on our nation's founding fathers in 90 seconds or less. Take a look at what we've got going today with Roger Sherman, a signer, and Samuel Adams, a name we all know. Enjoy.
Let me tell you a little story about a man named Roger Sherman. Born in Newton, Massachusetts on April 19, 1721, according to Thomas Jefferson, Roger was a man who never said a foolish thing. Though Sherman never received a formal education, he was eventually awarded an honorary Master of Arts from Yale College. Roger's first experience with politics was when he was only 21 years old as surveyor of New Haven County. Sometime later, after working with a lawyer, he was encouraged to set up his own law practice, and without studying, he passed the bar. Sherman was later appointed as Justice of the Peace, after he was appointed and elected to many positions, most notably to the Continental Congress, where he signed the Declaration of Independence. Roger was the only person to sign the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Association, the Articles of Confederation, and the United States Constitution. Sherman died on July 23, 1793, at the age of 72. And there you go, a little story about a man named Roger Sherman. Let me tell you a little story about a man named Samuel Adams. Born in Boston, Massachusetts on September 27, 1722, Samuel, even as a young child, would think and write about politics, eventually making him one of the most influential of the founding fathers. Adams graduated from Harvard College and found that he made a poor businessman and an unsuccessful brewer, but eventually became a very successful politician. Samuel eventually would become an agitator for American independence, leading many rebellious acts against the British, from the Sugar Act, Stamp Act, all the way to the Boston Tea Party. Next, he introduced the idea of a Continental Congress, which he joined, and later signed the Declaration of Independence. Adams was later elected as a member of the Massachusetts State Constitutional Convention, appointed lieutenant governor, and eventually elected as governor of Massachusetts. Known as the father of the American Revolution, Samuel Adams died on October 2, 1803, at the age of 81. And there you go, a little story about a man named Samuel Adams.
Okay, I want to take a moment now to thank our Patriot Club members for making these videos possible. Your financial support provides the resources to bring these stories to life for all kids of ages, any age really, to enjoy. If you're not already a member of the Patriot Club, please consider joining. It's $99 once a year. It is absolutely tax-free. We even send you some wonderful drinking vessels there. You can see them on the screen. All of the money that comes in from the Patriot Club goes to help us create such educational videos. If you like our 56 Signer series, simply visit patriotclub.us to get started, and thank you very much. Okay, and before we take off for the day, we do want to show some love to our Patriot Club members. We give a great big shout out today to Chris from Thief River Falls. There's got to be a great story behind that. Thief River Falls, Minnesota. Thanks for supporting us, Chris, and that's going to do it for the show. I'm Dr. Duke. Until next time, stay educated, my friends.